Hi, it's Shamel here working on my Christmas journal and just wanted to catch you up on where we were last time we left off and what I'm doing moving forward. Now, I've found that sitting down and making one full entry every single day on that day is not the process that works the best for me. Writing every day works really well for me, but then I like to put the book together in bits and pieces. So if you feel that if you feel behind, I don't really believe there is such a thing, but if you feel that feeling, please don't worry. There is all sorts of potential to still finish this project. So I just wanted to show you where we were when I last left off on the last video. So in case you're watching out of order, you remember what's happening. So at this point, I know in my album, because I'm using a variety of different papers that I assembled into my kit, and I'm using all those different size of pockets and the page protectors, that I want a few things to help pull all that together. And it means that I do have some room for pockets that are just purely embellishment. Not every single pocket needs to be a photo or writing. So I'll have a little bit of creative space in there to just add things that are pretty. One of the things I really love to do with punches is to just select a few and layer them up so that I have some embellishments that I can put throughout the book. And I shared another video using kind of a less Christmassy version so that you can see how this can apply to your scrapbooking throughout the year and not just Christmas. But for this particular set, I used a plain circle as the largest piece, then smaller than that, a pinked circle, and a snowflake that's about the same size. I think the snowflake is ever so slightly larger than the circle, but obviously a more intricate piece. So I've just taken all those pieces, punched them from different elements of my kit. So I have a vellum circle, a red patterned pinked circle, then a snowflake that's kind of a ledger pattern, and a button. So this is as simple as inking all of the edges of the paper. I didn't ink the edge of the vellum, but you certainly can. And just putting one in the center of the other. Popping the button on top. And I do use a little bit of adhesive just to tack the button in place so that I can work with it. And then use a paper piercer and a mat to punch the holes. Thread the thread through with a needle, and these I did the thread in the wrong direction so that it ties on the top instead of the bottom, and just knot it at the top. Now I haven't trimmed these knots yet. I'm going to go back and trim the thread in each of these so that it's just wider than the vellum circle. And you may notice this one that I just tied, the vellum circle is not perfect. I accidentally overlapped the circle punches ever so slightly. It doesn't matter at all. I won't throw that away when I'm working with a limited kit. What I'll do is just place that one in some sort of design where it goes off the page and I can just trim it flat, or another element will overlap it. So I don't stress at all. It's just a little secret between you and I that I made that mistake. It's not a problem. So trim all these up, and then I'll show you how I will add them to my book to create half a dozen pockets really quickly that have an embellished look that will unite all these different papers that I chose and the different styles of each entry, because I'm not making every single page exactly the same, and not every supply is going to appear on every double page spread. So I have these all ready to go. I can set that aside and come to my album, and I want to use these on the smaller pockets. So I'm just going to go through and take 6 of the smaller pocket pieces that are blank. So I've done a little bit more embellishment at the top at the moment. So let's see, let's take one like this. And if there's anything else in that pocket that needs to come with it, then I'll just take that as well. So got that one there. And then I'll skip a few so that they're spread throughout the whole book. Let's see, this is a good one. This one. that's 3. I'll come back for 6 in a minute, but I don't want to repeat too much for you. You'll get the idea. So now I'm going to take these 3 and use each one with, in fact, I'll put that one with this. Each one's going to get one of those little layered embellishments. I'm just going to use a few other pieces to pull it all together. So one of the things that's been repeating through my book is this glitter tape, which is just really sparkly adhesive tape, and you can trim it just like a ribbon by folding in half and cutting to get that little pennant finish. So let's start on the most awkward one. This is the one that has that piece that's missing, and I want to make a little banner to hang down from the top. So I can just pull the backing off, which is always harder on camera than if the camera is off. So close. There we go. Let's do that right flush to the edge. So now I've got my sparkle going there. And I want to include that 7 because I'd already allocated that to this page, this pocket, and overlap that. So just add the adhesive on these pieces. I'm going to keep within the solid circle so that you don't see the adhesive through the vellum. I want that divot that I punched out of the circle by accident to be hidden. So I will add that on this side. And I think I'll add the 7 with some pop dots to give it a bit of dimension. Oh, and I overestimated there. There we go. And then I kind of like to have 3 things in a grouping, so I'll just look for something else I could add, like some words, so maybe a word sticker, and here's one that will work well. So I'll just tuck that into the bottom of this little grouping, and then that one's all done. So then I'll kind of take a variation on that theme to do the next one. So perhaps with this one I'll have the ribbon go horizontally across the piece. And I didn't have any extras like that number 7 on this one that I needed to include. So in this case, God, I've actually think because I've added the green ribbon and there's not a lot of color going on there, I'll add this one with the turquoise. And then perhaps something that's a little bit more obvious. Not just a plain little word sticker, but maybe something that's just a little bit, ever so slightly more involved. So how about a photo tab, because that has a little file tab has a different type of shape than just a plain rectangle. I'll add that at the top there. Again, keep my adhesive off the vellum, but just where it's going to be hidden by the paper layers. And overlap that so that this red circle and the snowflake are crossing there. Then I think a finishing touch for this one would be some mist. So I'm just going to grab my gold mist that I'm using here and there throughout this whole project. Just put a few drops on there. I'm not sure if it will dry on the ribbon. What I'll do is just leave it to see if it does dry. If it doesn't, you can just take and fold a paper towel so that, or a cloth so that it's just the width of that ribbon, or make sure everything else is dry, and then it won't matter if it touches the other elements. And you can just press and soak it off as if it were a spill on the counter. It'll be just fine. So I have that, and then maybe just something really tiny to finish that off. I could use some brads. I think I still have a couple little red stars. That's what I'm looking for in my kit. There we are. So I can take one of those little red star gems and put it up here at the top with all these little gold droplets. There we go. And one more. So I think I'll go back to that pennant idea, but put it on the other side. So this one I'm using the green ribbon on the opposite side from before. And I'll take my embellishment and pop it over the top. And then in this one, because I've used a black pattern paper in the background, and there's green here and here, it does seem like this one needs a little bit more red. So I'll look through the bits of my kit to see what splash of red I could add easily. And I have, let's see, I have another red element on the letter stickers. It's the same sort of shape, so if I do another one here, then I'll probably want the two to link together in some way. That one there, and then I'll want a horizontal element or something that's maybe not necessarily a horizontal, but something that's a slightly different shape, not completely far. So maybe a snowflake on its own. So I've repeated the circle element here, and then I'll repeat the snowflake element. That would work. So I can take the snowflake, add it here, and then I'm going to end up with a grouping of 3 again. And I want to add a little something to the center of that piece. So maybe in my stamp set there might be something that would fit well. Maybe just that little number 25. So for stamping on the sticker, I want to use some Stays-On so that it's less likely to smear as I stamp it. And I've just realized that my Stays-On refill is empty, so let's see how this works. This ink pad is, oops, I need to go the other way because that button's in my way. And yeah, my Stays-On ink pad is a little past its best, needs a refill. So we'll see how well it stamps. Usually when a Stays-On ink pad, if you haven't used them before, when they are well inked and the ink isn't old or dry, the black is very black, like stamping with a Sharpie pen. But they do get more faded as they get older. Yeah, so it is a little bit faded, but not bad. I can match that up to where it was. There we go. Right. So there, in just a matter of moments, I've got 3 cards that I can go straight back into my album on those pages. And so I'm doing a few different types of embellishment that way. So I'll come back and show you in the next video what I did with ribbon roses. And instead of using the ribbon roses on small cards, I've used them on the larger pages with my writing. I'll see you very shortly for that video soon.